I've got stuff I got to do for work. But hey, guys, number 96, I guess, in this continuing saga of photo share and discussion. So far we got Frank from a beautiful, sunny, slightly rainy, sometimes California, and Simi, who is still digging out of his snow in Connecticut, I think, right?
As we speak, it's snowing.
Oh, isn't that great?
Could get from 4 to over 7 inches. They're not sure.
Oh man, so you're like at 158 million inches so far this year as far as snow? I mean,
I stopped counting.
I heard, was it on Tuesday or Wednesday, that Boston, the city of Boston had surpassed over 100 inches of snow for the winter, which made it like number two or three on snowiest winters ever.
Yep.
So, which is what, like 3 times normal? Isn't it normally about about twice normal? Isn't it about 40, 45 inches of snow typical season?
Yeah.
And are you in that same range? Do you get more or less than Boston usually?
Well, usually we get less.
Okay.
We just missed that track, but we've been lucky this time, but we still got more snow than we should get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's only what 2 weeks until spring, right? No, 3 weeks.
You say so.
Hey, it's a calendar at least. The calendar says it, not necessarily the sidewalk in front of your house. But yeah, well, it's. What's going to happen? We're going to be sitting here in July doing this, and you're going to be like, it's the second week in a row of 100+ degree temperatures.
As I was going through knee-deep or higher than knee-deep snow yesterday, I was like, yeah, spring's not going to come for a while.
Yeah. It'll be. Hopefully, it doesn't come too fast, because if you get it warmed up real fast and it just melts, then you just run into the issue of potential flooding, at least with. Too much snow, too much water with not enough snow out of the way to let it drain properly.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're going to be running into that in Boston if they get some unusually warm weather. So, yeah, it's never perfect. It's either too much or too little. It's just kind of like time. You either have more time than you want, or less time than you want. And it seems like it goes on one extreme or the other. So. Well, good. Well, it looks like you posted some images, Frank. You did send me. I didn't, once again, for like the 3rd or 4th week in a row.
Bad mark.
Yes, yeah, well, I was telling Frank before you joined it, I was, this weekend I had stuff to do yesterday, but today was supposed to be okay weather-wise, and I had time to be able to go out. I was going to try to go to my monthly car show, which I haven't been to in a few months because it's just been crappy weather on the, every day that they have it. And got up early this morning, got outside, got my cup of coffee, my camera, started driving up to the car, and it started raining. I'm like, damn. So I just turned around, came back home, and then we were supposed to maybe meet up with some local people to go out and shoot, and it was still raining at noon or whatever, and I'm like, forget it. I'll get some stuff done inside and try for next week. It's supposed to actually warm up next week, so hopefully next weekend will be.
You've got a lot of car shows in your area. Is that one repeating that constantly goes off the air?
The one that I go to more often than not is it's called Caffeine and Octane. They hold it the first Sunday morning of every month. So whatever date the first Sunday is, they hold it. From it's supposed to be from 7 to 10, but in the summer, people get there at 6:30 in the morning because they get 500-600 cars show up, and people want to get the best, the quote unquote the best spot where they can get the most traffic. And so usually I'll just go. It's about a 15-20 minute ride for me to get up there. I'll usually go up, first thing in the morning. Just get up a little early and get up there and spend about an hour, typically going through and photographing what I find interesting. And then usually by about 8 o'clock, especially in the warmer months, by 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, it's just packed with people, and you really can't negotiate around the vehicles at all. So I try to get there 7:30 in the summer and try to be done. And I might hang around after 8:30, but I'm pretty much done photographing by 8:30 because there's just too many people. So then I just wander around and talk to some of the car owners and that type of thing. So, but it's nice. It's a good, you see a lot of the same cars every month.
Can you take a tripod to those events without getting in the way?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Especially early. So I do take the. I've gotten in the habit of taking the tripod, and especially first thing in the morning when there's not a ton of people around, and so I'm able to get some good shots. But once you start getting too many people, then you just gotta, kind of hang the tripod over your shoulder and walk around and shoot, handheld because it's gonna be impossible
Hmm.
to get done. Hey Wes,
Hello.
good evening.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Doing well.
We're just
Good.
discussing the.
It's still snowing.
Yeah. Oh, at least it's something pretty to look at. It's just ugly around here.
Yeah.
It stopped being pretty a few weeks ago, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's a lot of snow. It's yeah. But you are getting some great images. I mean, you posted a couple good ones here this week that are very nice.
I heard Atlanta got some snow.
We did. We got a little bit. They closed down the schools for 3 days this week.
Oh my God.
The governor declared a state of emergency on Tuesday. Everybody leave by 2, so everybody closed down at 2. I got home in like 15 minutes. It was no problem at all. And then we had here in the Atlanta area, up north of us, near the mountains and a little bit northeast, they got maybe 6 to 10 inches. So they got a lot of snow up there. But in the metro area, a little bit of rain, a little bit of sleet, a little bit of freezing rain, but nothing really, to really think of. And then they closed the schools the next day because it was maybe a chance of a few icy patches on the road, and it was fine. So from a commuting standpoint, I had the best commutes I've had in 4 months with the snow emergency because everybody stayed home. They just I'm not going in. So it worked out pretty good. But yeah, we got a little bit of snow. I mean, there was enough snow on the ground on Monday morning, Tuesday, where it coated the grass, and for about an hour and a half, and then it rained and melted, and not so much. But up north in the mountains, I got 8 or 10 inches of snow, which is a fair amount for them. They're used to getting a few inches, 2 or 3 inches a few times a year up there, but they got about 8 or 10 all at once, which is pretty significant for them up there. So, but that's about it. That's the extent of the snow in Atlanta usually. We get maybe one time a year where we get a light coating of snow, maybe an inch, and then it melts in a day. So.
Yeah, you guys normally get ice.
Yeah, if we get anything, it's usually ice, and that's just hell for everybody here because they don't have enough equipment to treat the roads, and it is kind of it's kind of rolling hills. They've got enough equipment now that they can run around and do the interstates. So people coming through the state, or if you're driving on the interstate, you'll probably be okay with a typical, a little bit of ice. But getting out of your neighborhood to the main road is impossible because it's hills and they don't treat any of the local streets. So if you get any ice at all on the roads, it's pretty much you just stay inside because you're not going to be able to get out. And if you do, you're going to run into a bunch of people that have no idea how to drive in it anyway. So it's kind of like a live fire situation. You do not want to go out in it. Take your life in your hands, that's for sure. So, cool. All right, well, hey, let's jump into the photo show, unless anybody's got any fun photographic information this week. Anything come across? Websites? Anything photography, news related?
Canon's dropping their prices on everything. Looks
Oh,
like.
they are?
Yeah,
Wow.
I did see that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was in
lenses,
Best Buy
bodies.
today. I was at Best Buy, and the 6D is $13.99 now.
Oh, what did it used to be? Was it like $17.98, something like
It
that?
was like $16.99, I think.
Huh. So what's prompting that? They just feeling a little bit of pressure from the mirrorless world and more
Probably, yeah.
competition from Nikon, Fuji, that type of thing?
Smartphones.
Mm-hmm.
With
Well,
Sony's 7.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the
It's,
A7.
it's a full frame, and it's $1,500 or whatever. So
Yeah. And then you got the Fuji, which is APS-C, and they're in that $1,000 to $1,200 for their higher end ones. And then you got the mirrorless that are quality-wise is pretty darn close to what the DSLRs were a couple years ago, and
Yeah, maybe
lower price range too.
maybe they're clearing inventory for all this new stuff that they haven't announced yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
It's kind of coming at the end of the, I guess. Well, yeah, January, February is really slow retail-wise, but I wonder, does it pick up a lot as far as people buying new equipment when you get into spring? I mean, is it really driven that much by spring or summer, or do you think most of the stuff is purchased in the
You
fall?
get a bit of a spike in June, not only for graduation presents,
Mm-hmm.
but because of the summer starting, people going on vacations,
Yeah.
and people getting married as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so people, pros may be upgrading equipment late spring, early summer to take care of the rush for the season. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
people, yeah, going on trips and that type of thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they're definitely getting a lot of pressure on the big DSLRs. That's
Yep.
I think that area is getting pinched a little bit as far as people that are wanting to get into photography. Do they buy a big DSLR, or do they get a nice compact, higher end compact point and shoot, or do they get a mirrorless? Does it maybe that fits 95% of what they want, which will be a lot better than their phone, but not quite the size and bulk and whatever of the big DSLR. So crazy. You run out? Did you run out and get the 6D, Wes?
No, just dreaming.
Okay. It's a nice camera.
Yeah, it is.
It's a very nice camera. But you could get the A7 for about the same price.
Right. But I don't have a selection of lenses that'll fit an A7 right now.
That's true, yeah. And the lenses for the A7 are fairly limited still, and the ones that they have are pretty expensive too. So
yeah,
they're not a whole lot of budget lenses for the A7.
You're not interested in getting the adapter and just using it that way, because that's one of the benefits of the A7 is that with any adapter, you can use any lens on the market.
I've heard the
lantern,
focus.
Leica, whatever.
I heard the focus speed suffers quite a bit when you use the adapter.
Yeah, it can for some, and then the other thing you run into is just the internal cropping of the image frame. It just ends up, you have a full frame camera, but you pop on one of those lenses, and before you know it, it's an APS-C all over again, based on the light circle or whatever that the lens projects onto the sensor. So
that's where you gotta buy that. Spend $300-400 and get one of those Metabones speed boosters.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. So yeah, it does offer a lot of flexibility, but yeah, it's not as cost effective right now. Although I think they'll probably come out with more lenses, add a bunch of lenses to the mix too.
Yeah, those speed boosters can be around $400.
Like buying an extra lens.
Cost effective.
Yeah, exactly.
Cost
I know,
effective and photography don't go together.
Yeah.
Looking at the quality of the A7s and something like it, let alone the form factor, kind of makes you wonder, why do you need an SLR in the first place?
Yeah, that's the.
I mean, if you're doing sports,
right
got it. That's a given. If you're doing a lot of outside work and bright sunny days, and you got to have a viewfinder, it's not really much of an argument because the A7 does have has an EVF.
Mm-hmm. And it's a very good one apparently too. So.
Yeah, well, it's significantly better than an optical one in very low light.
Mm-hmm.
So there's they're blurring the lines as far as why you actually need a big honking SLR in the first place.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely, the landscape's definitely changed. Just the last 3-4 years since I got back into photography. I mean, at that point, it was in 2010, 2011. If you wanted a good camera, you had to buy a DSLR. If you wanted a digital camera, really big jump, you had to pretty much jump up to that DSLR size. Now, not so much. You could get a A7, you could get a Fuji, you could get a OMD, one of the Panasonics, and get a camera that is feature-wise pretty darn close to all the things. Good electronic viewfinder, much better sensor as far as noise than it was even just a few years ago on the high-end DSLRs.
Right.
And it's really close. So the DSLRs have a much smaller niche than they used to. Now it's for the people that really want the full frame or the much faster focusing speed that would be needed for like sports and that type of thing. But outside of that, it gets tougher and tougher, which is maybe why Canon's lowering the prices a little bit, trying to move some of that stuff out.
Well, the whole market is tanking ever since about 2010. Things have just fallen precipitously. So
yeah, it's a big change. Big change. It's probably kind of the same kind of change that we saw back in 2000, 2001 when digital cameras first came on, and how they displaced film. I mean, I think we're kind of in that another big sea change within the digital realm now, because now you've got the smaller bodies and that type of thing. They have great quality, and the form factor is going to change quite a bit. Yeah, camera phones. Even the stuff on your phones now, the camera, it's still not close to what you could get with a good mirrorless or DSLR, but the quality on those is fantastic. And that replaces a point-and-shoot camera for 90% of people that just want a camera to take photos of something.
Yeah, when you compare it to an inexpensive point-and-shoot, the phones, the iPhones, the Nokias, they're just as good as a pocket camera. And in some of those bridge cameras, they look impressive, but when you take a look at the sensor, it's a tiny sensor, same size as a smartphone sensor, and the pixels are incredibly small, same size as the pixels coming out of a smartphone. So you end up paying a lot more for a camera that looks impressive, has a 1,000mm built-in mega zoom that you never use, all to get image quality the same as the smartphone.
Yeah. That's the.
And those sensors in the smartphone, the lens and sensor combinations, you can buy those for about $25 off eBay.
Yep. It's quite amazing, really. The basic camera is now in your phone, and for most people that just want to document their trip, take a snapshot here and there, why not? Why not use your phone or your iPad or something like that? Because the images are going to be perfectly fine for what most people want, which is like, hey, here we are in front of, whatever, or here's Uncle Bob, that's fine for most people. But you still have to make that jump up to more full-feature camera, for the photography side of things, I guess, from the being able to add some real creativity to it and have some flexibility if you know how to use it and take advantage of it. But you see a lot of people with DSLR, big cameras that it never goes out of full auto. They've got a $1,200 camera with with the kit lens, and they never take it out of auto. So it's just like a giant oversized point and shoot.
Yeah.
But somebody told them that they needed a DSLR if they wanted good photos. But I think that's changing now. I mean, I don't think that's happening so much. But I know a few years ago, I mean, that was it. People would buy a high-end DSLR just because somebody told them that to take good photos, you had to have a digital SLR. So they'd buy it with a kit lens, and they never take it out of auto. So.
I've never even tried auto on mine. I don't know if it works or not.
Neither.
It might be broken.
That button, that switch inside is just all dried up and non-functional now because it's never been used. So, hey, Tim and Dennis, welcome.
Hello.
Got the late night crew with us here. So,
yeah,
we were just debating the downfall of the DSLR as we know it. So we've talked. We've talked about that off and on here for the last few months, and I think it's on its way down. So.
We'll say Canon's just slashed all its prices, isn't it?
Yep, that's what we were talking about. That they lowered prices on most of the models. I mean, I haven't seen the press release, but that they lowered across most of the.
All the current models.
Okay.
Oh, it's all stuff. So I've only noticed things just popping up on Facebook that the 5Ds come down and the 6D, they're knocking the high-end stuff down.
Yeah, that's probably a harbinger of things to come, I think. And I think the DSLR market's been hit pretty hard.
Canon's launched, do you remember they launched that Canon, the EOS M that fell on its face because it had a focusing problem? There's been a 2 and a 3. The 3's not long launched, and do you think you might want to tell someone? because I didn't know till recently. I just happened to notice it in a photography's shop's online sort of shop. I went, no, there's a third generation.
And they've never even talked about it. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never seen an advert for it. None of the shops have got it. But you've got to sort of let people know you've actually made it if you want.
That kind of helps in increasing sales. People actually know that it exists, so they can buy it. Well, that just kind of shows you that even though they develop it, and maybe it's probably a lot better than the first generation, they're not. It's like an afterthought for them.
Yeah, everyone said with the first one, weren't it? They said they just really weren't interested in getting into that market. They want to carry on with the DSLRs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think a lot of the fault lies on the media, and when it comes to that particular camera, since the first one was such a negative reaction that nobody wants to report on anything about it. I mean, they did announce it at the same time they announced I think it was at the same time they announced the new 5DR and 5DS or whatever it is and all that stuff. So I think a lot of it had to do with the media.
They kind of announced it, and then everybody just kind of whatever, and didn't talk about it anymore.
They talked about all the other stuff, but they didn't talk about the M, which also the M's not coming to North America still, again, so it's only going to be in Europe and Asia.
Yeah, for now, I guess, but...
Yeah, they definitely should have rebranded it, even if it was, basically the same thing. That's the only way to trick people into actually covering it.
Yeah, call it something else. Yeah, change the name or do something a little different with it. Yeah,
if they put an EVF in it and rename it, I think it would be something that would sell. But nope.
Yeah, that was an oversight. Yeah, it still hasn't got an EVF. You think what mirrorless doesn't have an EVF now?
Yeah. Well, it just kind of seems to me that they're just kind of going into it half-assed. They're just like, oh, okay, well, we need a mirrorless, so let's put something together. And they build it, and then they got most of the stuff right, but the other stuff they just haven't thought through, or they just ran out of development money or whatever, and they kind of pushed it out and said, okay, we got a mirrorless camera, and then they went on to something else. They didn't, it was kind of to meet a quarterly goal or something. We have to have a mirrorless camera on the market. Okay, so develop one, send it out. Okay, there's our mirrorless camera.
And it was the kit lens it comes with is super sharp. It has better dynamic range than my T4. It's a good camera, but just seems to fail.
Yeah, well, there's just no probably interest from Canon corporate in really pushing it because they're still tied to the DSLR market. I think for the most part, DSLR or the high-end compact camera. Yeah. I don't know.
Wish they're introducing a new one.
Yeah, G17, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, there you go. Which that might be the area that gets squeezed out. I don't know. Because
I think they're hot. Yeah.
Yeah, the G17. I'm looking at the specs now. The specs say that it's going to come with an f1.2 lens.
Ooh.
f1.2 to 2.0. It's a 24 to 168 7-time zoom equivalent with a 1-inch sensor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that sounds really enticing to me.
And the price
for a pocket camera, absolutely. Let alone it's still at
$1,000. Is it going to be about $1,000 or a little bit less?
Probably. Yeah, it should be under. It should be under 1,000.
Aren't they like 900 somewhere on there? Okay. The G15 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. What is that? What the G15 is going for right now?
I don't know exactly. I haven't looked at it.
That seems awfully expensive for a pocket camera. I mean, if you're going to spend that much money, why not just buy a DSLR or a mirrorless?
Well, you're buying a smaller form factor is what you're buying.
Yeah, even smaller than the mirrorless. Yeah. That's what you're buying. Something that's even smaller than the typical mirrorless camera. But the sensor size, the 1-inch sensor, is what compared to the micro Four Thirds? Half the size of a micro Four Thirds. The 1-inch. It's a little smaller. I'm not sure of the exact comparison, but
I can look it up.
But yeah, I mean the typical point and shoot is what the 2/3 or whatever they call it. Like that's like in your typical point and shoot.
Yeah, well, it's 4/3 of. I guess it would be 4/3 of an inch, so it's an inch and a third is micro 4/3.
Yeah.
And then so it's a third of an inch smaller.
So it's like 35% big or whatever by the time you figure out the square millimeters or whatever the size of the sensor is. But so yeah, micro 4/3 is still a level again larger.
Yeah.
But a 1-inch sensor is still what probably twice as big as the real small compact camera, the typical compact camera sensor now.
Yeah, those are less than half of an inch, so it's at least 4 times as big as those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that makes
how many pixels has this one got?
Oh, the G17?
Yeah.
Let's take a look here. Oh, I typed in just G17 in Google search, and it came up with the Glock 17. That's probably not the same. Glock
Those go for about $1,000 too.
Yeah, no, that you get those for about 400.
Okay.
450 maybe. Coming in May. This is Canon rumors I'm looking at. 24 to 200 f1.4:2 1-inch sensor, magnesium body, and the Digix 6, which is their latest processor. Right. Sweet.
So they're saying that's going to go to f2 at full zoom.
Yeah, f2 at the 200mm equivalent.
I mean, I wish they'd make a lens like that for the DSLR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
that's crazy if it's true.
Yeah, it would be. They'd probably sell a lot of them. They would sell a lot of these to advanced amateurs and pros that just want a super compact walk-around camera.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be, image quality would be more than acceptable for most of the shots, and it's compact. It's all in one. One lens that gives you a pretty good range. I'd buy it. I'd replace I have an S100 right now. I think the S100 would be a little smaller than this, but I'd be in the market for a camera like this in a year or two. It's kind of like the second backup camera or whatever. But very interesting. Yeah, that'll be neat. All right, well, let's take a look at these images here. We got a few, and we can see what we got here. I'll start this thing. There we go. What we have here. Whoa. Oh, that's not right. Let's stop that. I'm in the constant. Oh, there we go. Let's try that. Doesn't work when you share your own screen. It goes into an infinite loop. There we go. So this is the last one from last week, right? Yeah, Rui. The one that Rui posted with the looks like the edge of a view over the river. I think it's just a building along a river walk there.
Did we see this before?
Yes, we did. This was last week, I think.
No, I meant before.
Did he post it black and white originally? A few weeks.
I know I've seen this before.
Yeah. We've seen this spot before. I mean, I'm not exactly sure it's this exact frame, but this spot. Yeah.
I've seen that exact frame before.
Okay.
I think you probably have. Yeah. I don't know if he shared it. Maybe he reworked it, but I thought we saw it as a black and white at some point too.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen this one before. Light. So this is. Okay. It looks like it's like maybe a light bulb inside a. No, it's like a boiler or a portal or something. I don't know.
Reminds me of a diver's helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something you can see on the side of a boat or a diver's helmet or something like that. It looks like
hey guys.
Fire back there. Hey, Rui. Came in.
Just in time for my photo, huh?
Yes. So we're looking at this one, and there's a light bulb in there. It looks like.
Yep.
Is there fire behind it too, or is that a reflection, or what?
It's actually the reflection of the light.
Interesting.
And that's in front of the tram from the previous photos.
Oh, okay. So this is one of these down here?
Oh, the pot lights?
Is that what that is, Roy? Is it a detail shot of one of these lights on the ground?
No, on the tram. Of the tram.
Oh,
That's the headlight of the tram.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
Oh,
posted a few
the
photos of
trolley.
some tracks and.
Oh, okay. Yep, the one you shared a few weeks ago. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So this is an old trolley car, basically. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, there's some neat. Geez, on this, the 50 millimeter. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Great texture on the around the frame here. That's neat. You can see it's multiple layers of paint put on it to keep.
Yeah. Most of it is graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
So originally it is yellow,
Okay.
but most of that is graffiti.
Okay. All right. So this down here and whatever. Okay.
Yeah, that black,
Here. Yeah.
the red, and
Okay. So they've just been painting over the graffiti with silver or something, huh? And they're covered up. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That reflection back that looks like fire is actually just a reflection of the light itself in the glass. Cool. That's neat. That's a great detail shot. It's very nice. I like that. I'm gonna fade that. That's a neat one. Good job. That's great. All right. So this is knee deep in snow yesterday, Simi?
Hey, yes, it was.
February. Okay. It looks like you're out at a horse farm or something.
Yeah, it's a horse farm down in a place called Southbury, Connecticut. It's been there for the longest. I've never seen it in use though.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly another owner just bought it last year.
Okay.
And they're going to open it up for horse training and whatnot, but right now it's not in use.
Okay, so it's pretty much an abandoned property at this point, huh?
Yeah, right next to it's there's like a dog park right next to it, so a lot of people walk here, so it's kind of accessible.
Okay, all right. Yeah, the building is the stables here are kind of cool. I like that in the background, that repeating pattern of the stable doors, I guess is what those are, and then the shadow in here in the snow is great.
Yeah, I like how when the sun was just at the right angle, it shows the curvature of that fence.
Yep, nice smooth curvature there in that.
It all leads back to the stables there.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Yeah, nice composition on this one, and no footprints out here.
No.
Let's see.
No, there's a few rabbit prints.
Yeah, but no human prints out there. Nice.
No, that was the thing that kind of made it difficult because I had to choose my spots without knowing where I was going to shoot next. So I wouldn't shoot myself with
shoot
tracks.
Yourself in the foot, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to do a little bit of planning because if you wandered out there and they're like, oh, I want to go back and shoot this, and you're like, as long as you got footprints, you're good. If you don't want footprints, you're kind of out of luck. Yeah. Cool. So you had to do a little bit of planning as you went, try to figure out where things are at. And
yeah, and it wasn't too bad yesterday. It was only 29, I think.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Right here.
Good. It's practically summer.
Yeah.
Very nice. Oh, okay. Different perspective on the same thing in black and white. It says shut it in with no way out. Okay. Very nice. 32 F11. Nice depth of field in there. Yeah, this is nice in black and white. That's very.
This is one of the times I wish I had one of those DJIS helicopters or drones. I mean.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be interesting to get it way up above and shoot down on it.
Yep.
Oh, this is nice. Nice heck. The wood is, you can tell it's weathered. It's been there quite a while. It looks like it's in a little bit of disrepair. It's going to need some painting. The new owners are going to have to paint the fence. You got this little, whatever this is, cable or whatever that's kind of wrapped around this gate.
Yeah, that's the security.
Yeah. And then, yeah, just the pattern and just wide open white snow back here. That's very nice.
Yeah, there's fences in front of that building too, where you can't. Well, behind where I'm looking.
Okay.
And there's fencing behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's.
Yeah, that's a neat spot. There's probably a lot of opportunities there.
Yep. Yeah.
Steve?
Unlike the other part, the other place I had, that was on a hill. This is like I said, that's why a drone would be nice for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially when you get the with the shadows falling down on the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I got a question for you, Simi. You used a 24 to 105 on this image. It doesn't. How do you use your lens, and what techniques do you use in order to get your? You got a great depth of field here. I mean, it's perfect. What did you do? Did you guess, or did you use like a depth of field preview button, or what's going on there?
I find the depth of preview button kind of useless. I press it and I don't really get a sense of the depth of field, not really. So
Okay.
first I try to plan like what length do I want to shoot at, whether I want to use the longer end or the shorter end.
Mm-hmm.
And then I usually will, if like this one here, I think I was at around 30 something because I wanted to get more in.
Mm-hmm. You said you were 32. Yeah.
Right. Now the problem comes is with this. I was still pretty far away from the fence here, so the depth of field wasn't an issue. But if I got closer with this lens, I could have gotten much closer, then we would have an issue, because then my depth of field, I would have had to gone down to maybe f/27 or so.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you would have gone in maybe and used this as
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How far in do you focus?
About 3/4 in, but it depends on the lens. I have one where it's I'm trying to think. I actually don't have to. I can focus almost. Trying to think. Almost halfway in, and it still gets, marvelous depth of field without me getting too close. But for this one here, about 3/4 in is fine.
So you're kind of focusing back along here then, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's very nice. Sharp here, and the back is very sharp, and yeah, that would have definitely been, if you would have gotten closer and closer to say this post here, you would have had to bump up the estimate quite a bit.
If you want a pixel peep, I guarantee you that barn is not in tack sharp focus.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it's for f/11, that's still real good.
Yeah.
No, it looks as I'm zooming in on Flickr, the best I can, at least on Flickr, it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
Yeah, that's a good, nice shot. Everything pretty much in very acceptable focus and sharpness all the way front to back. And
what's nice is after I take my shot, I can just zoom in and double check, final focus as much as you can get on that small screen. But
yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things I liked about using primes is having that depth of field scale.
Yes. Yep.
It is. It gets you close at least. Get you in the ballpark pretty well. Yeah. Oh, here's another nice one. This was 105. Okay, so a little bit of a medium telephoto in there.
Yeah, this one I drew my attention, just the fact that it's I've got these natural line of trees that are kind of like a fence, and then you got the other line of trees across in the background there. Which and then you have this man-made fence, which is basically a derivative of the trees.
So you got trees going front to back, fence going front to back, trees going left to right, fence going left to right. Yeah. And you got the nice little point down there that kind of all comes together at the back down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah.
Did you use a creative filter on this one?
I'm sorry?
Did you use sort of any creative filters? It's quite extreme. The contrast.
Yeah, for this one, I bumped up the contrast.
Okay.
And then I exported it out to, after I did, whatever little edits I did, I exported it out to Silver Effects Pro.
Okay.
And just did one of the things where it added just a little bit more contrast to it.
Okay. All right.
And then after that was finished, I brought it back into Lightroom, and then in the middle there, because actually this is sunlight, so that middle part is very, very bright.
Okay. Yeah. Right in here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, up above where the trees are.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So then I just kind of, dodge and burn to kind of equalize the tonality in the back. That was
Bring
about it.
Down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Did you bump up the clarity or anything on this a little bit?
I left the clarity about 25.
Okay. All right. Yeah, kind of the default. Yeah.
But when you went up to Silver Effects Pro, because it added a little bit more contrast on the particular one I chose here. So yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, you have more texture in the snow here. I guess maybe because it's a bringing down of the values.
Yep. Yep.
Than on the previous shot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very nice. Yeah, it's got a nice.
And then you can see my big head, the shadow of my big head there.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
There it is. You could have dodged that out. Come on.
It's my selfie.
Yeah, it's your selfie. Very nice. Yeah. Winter landscapes with the trees devoid of leaves and the snow and fences and that type of thing are just great. Great subjects for black and white, I think. Okay, so here we are. Is this the Museum of Modern Art, Frank?
Yes. Yeah. This is a wall within the Melbourne Museum of Modern Art.
Okay.
And yeah, taken with that really high-end Kodak Easy Share.
Oh yeah. That's got that mega sensor in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mega small or mega large or mega not so good. Yeah.
I was feeling a little Instagram-y to this morning, so
yeah.
This is not normally something that I do. It's the equivalent of having your filet mignon very well done. Saying it's overcooked is probably a little bit of an overstatement, but
yeah. But
I felt like having some fun with it.
The effect is nice. I mean, really, because the texture. I mean, you probably brought up the texture of the what is that concrete or whatever in there, and then just the colors. You got the yellows, the pinks, the purples, the blues, and then the main thing is just these whatever they are. Not power lines, but yeah, the two lines that are kind of going through there.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what those are. I think they were just ornamental.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
This is Frank's tribute to Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah.
It's very Star Trek-like.
Yes, it is actually. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. The bottom line there. That's one of the things that I edited just in Lightroom. I chose that area to bump up the highlights just to make that line a little bit more, just add more contrast, make it brighter so it actually sees it. Because my previous iteration of this file that was just getting lost in there.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah. Cool. So this was not really yet. So this, and it's still not near as significant as the top one, but you had to bump it up a little bit just to get it to come out a little bit.
Yeah, otherwise it just gets lost in the
That would have been just blended in.
Yeah.
Well, the colors are great. It's a neat texture. It is definitely overcooked, but it's a fun picture. It's a great the crop and everything is very nice. So
You take this with your medium format, get a lot of detail out of it, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
You just go back.
Yeah, I gotta go back.
Yeah, yeah. $1,600 on a 15-hour flight. I don't think so. There's got to be something better with San Francisco.
Yeah.
As good.
Probably. Yeah. No, that's cool. That's neat. The color. That's a fun picture.
Yeah.
Here's another one from the same high-end digital camera.
Yeah, yeah. This is an exterior wall at the Museum of Modern Art in Melbourne.
Okay.
And this one was done in what did I do here? Silver effects.
Okay, I was gonna say it looks like a silver effects kind of thing on it. Yeah, black and white.
Yeah.
Bumped up on the texture is kind of really bumped up. And
detail extractor to the extreme on this
detail
one.
Extractor,
yeah. The straight version of this thing is just really somewhat plain and very, very smooth. You don't get any of that contrast in the wall, the concrete at all.
Yeah, yeah, that's neat. And this is neat. These kind of laying in different angles and that type of thing. That's an interesting wall. Yeah.
Right.
Like capturing an earthquake in motion.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, this actually had to go through a variety of different softwares. I used Lightroom, I used Photoshop. I had to use Photoshop because of the horrible optics on the camera. It has quite a lot of lens distortion.
Okay.
So I had to straighten it out. And of course, you can see the aspect ratio here is really funky. So there was a lot more to it.
Like I don't know what that is.
It's more of a panoramic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a 5.2 or something.
Something like that. It's more than a 16:9.
Yeah.
It would be more like a 20:9.
He also took this in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to do that.
Kodak's coming back. Everybody else is going away, but it's only going to be Kodak in the future.
Yes.
Right. You have the two companies, Kodak and Fuji. They were both roughly in the same positions, both putting out low-end kind of garbage film cameras, and they weren't really doing all that much in digital. I mean, they were really kind of crappy digital cameras as well, but they were basically making film.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how the leadership of Fuji really took them to a very successful company.
Oh yeah.
And Kodak just squandered. I mean,
yeah, they imploded. I mean, they just they came out with a few, like you said, a few crappy digital cameras, and that was it. Fuji made the transition, and they do their cameras in such a way. A lot of their the X100S, whatever iteration is now, it's got all the film emulation modes that people love.
Right.
And they do a really good job of it. People.
Yeah, it has big sensors. Yeah. And the image quality is really good. The form factor, the design.
Yeah, they kind of went retro with the design, and then they added in the retro film effects. That was a perfect complement,
Right.
So.
It was a Kodak EasyShare that actually inspired me to get a DSLR.
Okay.
I bought that was a £50 Kodak camera. I bought it from when I was going to America in 2008, and I had a fantastic day in New York. Brilliant, the classic skyline shots across the buildings. And the Empire State Building has got windows missing thanks to the compression. It was my files are about 1.2 meg for a 5 megapixel camera, or no, it might be a 7 megapixel camera. And I just thought, why have you compressed them this much? There is just no need to. And I thought, how about we don't compress over to the DSLR world? I felt it ruined such good photos. They look fine on a 6x4 photo, but I tried it as wallpaper on my computer, and all you could see is the compression in the photos.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, when you take a look at some of these old cameras and considering when they were made, like my Kodak EasyShare, when that thing was out, I think the biggest card you could probably buy was around 256 megs. And that a 500 megabyte card was probably about $300-400.
Mm-hmm.
at that time. This is late 90s. And there was a reason why you wanted compression back then.
Yeah, I suppose we're talking 2000. So this was 2008. So that was my first thought. Why did you make it that small when you could just put a big card in it? Room was no longer an issue.
Right at the point where the cost of memory cards dropped a lot, and they kind of missed it. They were still thinking 2003, 2004 when I'm.
Yeah, that's like I think their mindset was still let's do them a favour and make it small.
Yeah.
You know, we had a rainstorm yesterday, and I brought my tank out, and I inadvertently I wasn't paying attention because I had taken some other shots previously just to document something, and I was shooting in JPEG, and I forgot to reset it to RAW, and I had shot this thing at the lowest JPEG settings possible, and literally this thing was just useless. The image quality was so bad. You would never expect it to come out of a camera that bad of an image quality to come out of a camera like that. Plus, I shot it at ISO 1600. So
okay, yeah.
So the highest ISO, the most compression, and the lowest JPEG settings. It's no wonder why the images were horrible. And why I'm not sharing them with you today.
Yeah, it is kind of funny though when you think about it. I mean, now memory is so inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a 16 gigabyte card for $4, and you know, and even at your camera, how many images could you fit on full RAW out of yours, Frank, on a 16 gigabyte card?
About 180.
Yeah, so there's 5 rolls of film. You know,
right.
from a 50 megapixel camera, essentially.
I got two 32 gig cards in this thing.
Yeah.
And they're 369 images apiece. Or excuse me, 369 images will fit in a 32 gig card.
Yeah, and you can get a fast 32 gig card for what, $20 maybe?
Yeah, I paid like $300 for these things.
When you first got them. Yeah.
Yeah, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. Now you can get them for $30. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. But think of all the images if you would have waited until the price dropped, you would have missed all those great images, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go. It's all worth it.
Yeah, and that's also the question that a lot of people have to ask themselves when they're saying, "Gee, do I buy this camera today, or do I wait the 6 months for the new version 2 to come out?" And you got to factor in, what will you be doing during that time? What photos will you not take? What will you miss because of that time period that you've waited? And how much are those images worth to you? Getting them now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because I think the reality is that most cameras now are so good that they're way ahead of 99% of the photographers out there. As far as you've got to know what you're doing, how to actually use the camera in order to really get the benefit out of it now. So yeah, if you have the money and you can afford it and you want it, get it now. Don't wait. It's always going to go down.
Right.
And you always have that buyer's regret. As soon as you buy it, the price is going to go down. Just deal with it because it's going to happen.
Yeah, you're speaking to the choir. This camera has gone down in 50% in the last 3 years that I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it was a $700 camera, that's not that big of a deal, but it wasn't, so it is.
Yeah. Yeah, 50% of a big number is much more significant. Is a big number. It's still a big number.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, that's the lesson for today, though. If you can afford it and it fits your budget, you don't want to sell your kids to, for scientific research. Well, maybe you do. It depends on the kids, I guess.
But, I got 2 kids. Yeah.
Prioritize. Figure out what you can afford, why you want it, do your research, and get the camera, and then use it. Learn how to use it. Learn how to become a better photographer as good as you can, because any camera out there now today that's anything above the standard basic point and shoot is going to give you more than enough that you can give it.
If it bothers you that much that your camera is going to be discontinued, or not so much that it's going to be discontinued, but the price is going to drop when it does get discontinued, then just buy used.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can get such good used equipment on the market right now.
Yep. Let someone else be the first adopter and buy it from them 6 months later for 50% of what they paid for it.
Exactly. You buy a used whatever, and in 2 years when you're ready to upgrade, especially if you're just starting out, give yourself a couple of years, and 2 to 3 years, and you'll be wanting to upgrade, or sooner, depending on how much effort you put into it. The more you shoot, the more you learn, the more you get better at it. The shorter period it is where you want to go from your entry level to something in the mid range or higher.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, I'm gonna have to put a close on this one tonight. I've got work to do before I go to the office tomorrow. So, but plus I got to watch House of Cards. Anybody binge watched all 13 episodes of House of Cards?
Not watched a single one of them.
Ah, man. No, Wes, you don't watch House of Cards?
I watched the first episode and I didn't get hooked, so
okay.
I haven't been back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Season 3 came out on Friday. We watched 3. We managed to watch 3 this weekend, so we'll probably watch one more tonight and finish up. But I've got a couple of friends that have watched the whole thing already.
What network is it?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix
exclusive.
This is the first. It was the first thing to ever be made because of statistics. Netflix decided people like political dramas. They like I can't think the actor who's in that House of Cards now, but the actor is it Kevin Spacey?
Yep, Kevin Spacey.
They've done it from statistics, so they like politics. They like Kevin Spacey, so they just made it on purpose, and they hit the nail on the head.
Yep. And it was so controversial not controversial, but it raised a lot of eyebrows when they released everything all at once. The first season was all released all at once.
Yeah, but they've learned that as well, and everybody just wants to watch it in a row. They don't want to wait a week or 2 at a time.
Yeah, and they paid Spacey a bunch of money, like $40 million for the contract.
I didn't know that much. I knew they were throwing money at it.
Yeah, but they've made it up. The subscriber base that they gained as a result of that, and it's stuck. They had a huge increase in subscribers after season 1, and most of those people are still there. So it more than paid for itself. So there you go. Now everybody else is doing it. Amazon's coming out with stuff. Netflix has released a couple new ones. So.
Yeah, I've got the Prime thing on Amazon, and when I first got it, I was watching a lot of movies here and there, and then it just kind of precipitously fell down. Just haven't been really interested in watching it.
Yeah.
What they have. Netflix, I think, would be a good option to cable.
Yeah, it is. If you don't watch want to watch a lot of live network shows or live network sports, you can pretty much get away from cable. If you like movies and that type of stuff. But
you got an outside antenna and a Netflix and Hulu. We pay for those every month, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. You get the local channels outside antenna, which is better than you're going to get off of cable anyway, as far as HD quality.
Yeah, and we get all the networks and whatever's on Netflix and Hulu.
Yep, exactly, and you save quite a bit.
Yep.
So, all right. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and end the show, guys. Thanks for joining in, Dennis.
Yep.
Thanks for staying up late. Appreciate it. And Frank, thanks for joining early. Timmy, thanks for trudging through the snow to make some photos for us. And Rui, thanks for joining. Are you drinking a Super Bock right now?
No, I just finished.
Okay, just finished. All right.
A few minutes early.
All right, good. All right, Wes. Hey, thanks for joining.
Yep.
And we'll go ahead and get this train back on the tracks next week. Same bad time, same bad channel, I guess. So.
Daylight savings time.
That's right. Oh, it is. That is next week, isn't it?
Yep.
We spring forward. Okay. Good. More time for photography, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, happy spring forward next week, and hope to see all of you back here next Sunday.
See ya.
Take care, guys.
Hey, guys.
Bye.
Bye.